Good morning, everybody, and welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lowdown podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, Senior Lakers Insider for Clutch Points, doing something a little bit different for this episode of the Lowdown. This is actually going to be on video as well, and it will go to the Lounge YouTube page. That is youtube.com/@LakersLounge to find the show there. In this episode, we're going to be talking about everything that I heard in an extremely eventful night last night. I'm going to try to take you through all of it and then see where that leaves us heading into free agency a little bit later today. We're going to talk about Dorian Finney-Smith. Looks like he's gone. We're going to talk about Brook Lopez, somebody the Lakers were really pretty confident that they are going to be able to sign. Obviously, the big news last night was Deandre Ayton becoming available after the Portland Trailblazers bought him out. I know a lot of Lakers fans are hoping for him as well. I wish I had better news. Let's get to it, I guess. All right, let's start with Dorian Finney-Smith. And this was a pretty thoroughly bungled situation here by the Lakers and by Rob Pelinka specifically, where they had his bird rights. They could offer him any contract to whatever extent or whatever length. They, I think, wanted Dorian at a deal at around 3 years, maybe 2 or 3 years at about a little under the mid-level exception. They are trying to stay under the first apron, or they were, I guess, when they were having these negotiations. I don't know if this has changed in light of potentially or probably losing Dorian Finney-Smith now. On top of coming in with an offer that Dorian and his team thought was lower than they were expecting. On top of lowballing Dorian Finney-Smith, the word out there is that Rob Pelinka was going out there and talking to teams about Dorian's knee to try to tank Dorian's free agency value and the offers that could potentially come in on him. Word is that got back to Dorian and his camp, and now you have a situation here where even if the Lakers came in with an offer above what the Houston Rockets are prepared to offer, I think I saw something in the ballpark of 4 years at the full mid-level exception for Dorian whenever he goes to Houston. This is a tough look. Not only to lowball Luka's closest friend on the team, but then to also back channel and do something that Dorian's team feels is shady. And if I'm Luka, I'm wondering, this is how you treat my guy? Okay. Now, the counter to that is maybe Luka knew that the Lakers didn't think that they were going to be able to retain Dorian. We'll see how they rebound here in trying to find talent at that cap slot. If they lose Dorian Finney-Smith, it basically opens up that full mid-level exception that you'd better get a damn good player for, because you just lost somebody, one of the 5 guys that JJ Redick was actually comfortable trusting in that fourth quarter where he didn't make any subs. So it's looking like, and these things change quickly, and I'll get to at the end of the show, or at the end of this quick little video, I will try to explain how quickly things can change here. But as it stands right now, it's looking like Dorian is going to go to Houston, and the Lakers are now kind of working to figure out whatever they have to do after that. Quick reminder, please do hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button, all of the good buttons. And then if you guys are listening to this in audio form, please hit that subscribe button wherever it is that you get your pods. Let's talk about Brook Lopez, somebody who, as of late last night, I would say the Lakers have been pretty comfortable or pretty confident that Lopez will be coming back to Los Angeles to whatever extent they legally can be confident. They have been working on a reunion here for some time. Lopez, it sounds kind of like he was just going to go to whoever the highest bidder is, and the Lakers happen to likely be that highest bidder. Uh, where things do get kind of interesting with Brook Lopez is how various people within the organization view him. Some view him as a backup center. Others view him as a day one starter, at least for a little while until he proves that he can't be that. I personally think I would be a lot more confident and comfortable in the Lopez signing if it was for backup minutes and with the intent to trade for the starting center. Problem is the trade market, as I've talked about previously, has not been very bountiful as teams have been trying to take advantage of the Lakers. Now, those one of those teams that have been trying to take advantage of the Lakers' desperation at the center spot, the Portland Trailblazers, just had to buy out Deandre Ayton because they probably held on to him a little bit too long or asked for a little bit too much for him last year. Uh, we'll see what happens with Robert Williams, and we'll see what happens with some of these other centers around the market. The Utah Jazz just traded for Yusuf Nurkic. Where does that leave Walker Kessler? We'll see. I don't think it changes anything, but fingers crossed, I guess. But as far as Brook Lopez goes, yeah, it looks like he's probably going to be a Laker fairly soon into free agency. And what does that mean for DeAndre Ayton? That's worthy of conversation. DeAndre Ayton was bought out last night in a move that surprised Twitter, but apparently didn't surprise anybody in the league. Apparently, this had been in the work for a little while. Portland had been trying to trade him, especially after they drafted Hansen Young, and yeah, those trade efforts didn't go very far for a player who has motor concerns, who doesn't exactly have the best injury track record, and is just kind of widely renowned as a bit of a bust to this stage of his career in terms of what you expect from a first overall pick. So Ayton gets bought out, and here's where I'm trying to square a bunch of information that has come in all at the same time, where Ayton is exactly the kind of player that the Lakers would typically go after. Uh, High draft pedigree, number one overall pick. Doesn't have, I mean, his injury history isn't great, but he doesn't have like the crazy bad surgeries or anything like that usually tends to scare the Lakers away. He's big, he's athletic. He shares an agent with Luka Doncic. And so, like, you look at all of that situation, you say, okay, yeah, he's probably going to be a Laker. A lot of people kind of connecting those dots I saw on Twitter last night. And there are certainly people throughout the league who are kind of connecting those dots too. The thing is, the Lakers, as did the rest of the league, knew that Ayton was probably going to get bought out, and yet we're still working to sign Brook Lopez again, legally, obviously doing everything legally, but like they even given that Ayton may eventually become available, they maintained the work that they were doing on Brook Lopez. Now, can they sign both? Can you get DeAndre Ayton at the 10-ish? The number it sounds like is going to be around 10 mil for Ayton. Maybe you can get him at 10 mil, use your remaining full mid-level on another wing, right? Maybe a Bruce Brown. And then maybe you also go out and you use your biannual exception on Brook Lopez. This would hard cap you, I believe, at the first apron, but maybe, just maybe, that is kind of the plan to recover from losing Dorian Finney-Smith. If you don't get Ayton, and it looks like Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be going to Atlanta, if you don't get Ayton and you don't get Alexander Walker, the market isn't great. Maybe you go out and try to get Bruce Brown to make up for losing Dorian. Again, I don't know. I don't know. So where things wind up on Ayton, we'll see. I'm not as confident in Ayton as I am about Lopez. And if the Lakers sign Lopez, does Ayton go to like Milwaukee, or I've thought that Charlotte made some sense. I know there was that bit that Shams reported that Ayton wants to go to a winning situation. And I know a lot of times, and for the entirety of my professional and personal life, um, the Charlotte Hornets haven't exactly been renowned for winning. So maybe he doesn't go to Charlotte, but it's a bad Eastern Conference. I could see Charlotte making the playoffs in that bad Eastern Conference. They just traded for their veteran guard in Colin Sexton. Maybe this is the year that LaMelo Ball manages to stay a little healthier. And maybe you kind of go from there. But yeah, I wish I was more confident in the Lakers' ability to sign Ayton. If they sign both Ayton and Lopez, and Ayton just becomes the starter, and Lopez becomes the floor spacing big behind him, I could kind of see the vision. I still don't think that makes up for losing Dorian Finney-Smith for nothing, though, especially when there was no reason to arrive at this place in the first place. Let's talk really quickly here about how quickly things change, because going into the offseason, given everything that the Lakers had to work for, I would have said, yeah, Dorian's not going anywhere. You're probably going to use your mid-level exception on Brook Lopez. You're probably going to, uh, find some minimum guys elsewhere. Maybe you trade for a wing, or maybe you trade for your starting big, whatever it comes down to. But really, last night was super loud, was very loud. I spent basically all of it on my phone, even while Jen wanted to watch the Bear. You know, not all of us wear capes, but it was a very eventful night. And whenever the dust settles, I'll be happy to tell you that story. But essentially what it comes down to is the Lakers fumbled the Dorian Finney-Smith bag. And now it is going to be interesting to see the conversation that they have with Luka Doncic, where it's like your basketball hero just kind of test ballooned a trade demand to see how that would go over. Your best friend on this team was just lowballed, and feels as if Rob Pelinka did some shady shit behind the scenes on Dorian's way out. You're probably going to lose your other close friend, Maxi Kleba, to a trade one way or another. And you went into the offseason hoping to get a lob threat center. And right now it looks like it's going to be Brook Lopez, who is not a lob threat. So, yeah, the Lakers, and by the way, this is all a lengthy audition based on how Guggenheim handled the Dodgers situation when they bought them. This is all a lengthy audition for the front office to Guggenheim too. There's some awkward conversations that I think are going to have to take place if this offseason continues on in the way that it has looked like it might be going. Now, look, just like last night, things took a turn for the worst. Things could very quickly take a turn for the better here. And we'll see what that might look like. All right, that is going to do it here for this episode. It's a very quick episode of the Lowdown. I'm going to upload this to the RSS feed as quickly as I humanly can, and get this uploaded, obviously, to YouTube as quickly as I humanly can. And then we will go live if we get any kind of breaking news. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And oh, look at that. Yeah, I'm just apparently Dan is also saying that the Lakers are bracing for losing Dorian Finney-Smith. So have a good one, everybody.